The chestburster in the original Alien was one of the most shocking and wonderful effects in film history. We had to repeat it, but we had to do something a little different.
I actually endeavored on the second picture to make it even less gory than the first one, because I think the chestburster scene is pretty gory in and of itself, although the number of seconds of gore, say, throughout the film is not that great. But I actually tried to pull back even more from that, because I figured, okay, the first film told you what could happen. We don't have to revel in it.
The chestburster is representative of all of the creature effects in the films, that they have all changed slightly. And what you hope you do is you're making it more specific to the story, and that you're making improvements without destroying the original designs of these creatures, which are really just great designs.
We had a copy of the original chestburster from the first film, and the thing that we were noticing in the original sculpture was there was an indication that there were to be arms, little arms on the thing, and I wasn't really aware of them in the film.
Jim did want to add arms to it. He wanted it to look like the hands were helping free itself, pushing itself out. I think he felt that the one in the first one was just a little too larval and a little too disconnected from what it ultimately will become.
We built 2 chestbursters, one of which had 3 joints in the waist so that it could do a curling effect as it burst through the chest, and that was like a big punching ram that could come through the, it was an actress with her body backed away from the set,
on a slant board,
so that there was a fake prop coming down from basically from her armpits forward.
False body,
sort of
hollow,
like the body up through the table, kind of a magician's gag. And so when the first chestburster came through, we were able to literally punch through like a punching rod and come through a latex skin and a distressed T-shirt that she was wearing with a lot more energy than even in the John Hurt chestburst from the first film. In continuing that effect, we built
then
an entirely...
it was a cut, and then the articulated puppet went inside.
And the articulate puppet was multiple layers of vertebrae that had 4 directions of universally organic motion, as well as small rods for the hands, so they had the praying mantis folds, and a much wider jaw actuation so that the mouth could open even further, because it had to be burnt.
Almost like a full tentacle.
Didn't Steve Norrington do
Yes.
that as well?
Yeah, I think Steve did that.
And then we had a puppet replica of the actress after it's come out and she's dead that fit into the cocoon so that they could hit it with a flamethrower.
So that was actually burnt. And if I remember right,
It's
the
still
hero
going.
puppet
It's
was...
still,
The hero puppet was thrashing a mile a
It
minute.
just was like,
Burn, baby.
okay, hopefully we got this, because we're about to burn it right now.
You don't create fear with gore. You create disgust. It's a whole different emotion. And I think that certainly for me, the emphasis on the second picture was less on horror and more on terror. We wanted people to experience the fear and the suspense.
I remember going to the lab once, or whatever they called it, where they showed us the face huggers. And then as we were like looking at, the thing, they sort of set it off.
Just remember that was a blast to puppeteer that, because it was just such a base reaction. It's ever since you're a kid and you try to scare somebody to make them jump, and knowing that that's exactly what the point was for the audience, that was a lot of fun.
We had a puppet and an actuated puppet, but very difficult because it had to be controlled through water. So we had to really figure out how we could get all of these cables and everything hidden and not have everything leak out of the stasis tube at the same time.
The dissection scene from the first Alien film was literally a horseshoe crab with some oysters laid in the bottom and a little bit of extra latex rubber dressing on it. Shane built the dissection facehugger for the second film, and that was stomach tripe unrolled out to its honeycomb pattern.
Skin with silver paint
Chicken
on
skin.
it. Really weird.
And it was
horrible,
pinned, and
sticky
it was
stuff.
pinned out on a dissection board too. I mean, we had to put the thing in a refrigerator every night, and nobody would touch it except Shane. It was only because he had to.
And Lance. So Lance,
Bring in that horrible thing.
Lance Hendrickson was really good with it.
Yeah, he was fun.
Oh, buddy, what is that you got there? Oh, wow, look at that. And he'd get in there and start working.
Well,
with it.
we like actors, and the stuff that we make, you have to help them do their job too. So if you make it as real as possible, that gives them something to react to.
In order to create the illusion of these 2 facehuggers, which are now loose in that room, created a half dozen different forms of this particular creature so that it could have a performance and become a character. Didn't change the design, extended the design, changed what it could do as an actor.
What Jim really wanted was that proximity and the tactileness of it. So there were a few different pieces that we built for that.
We had 2 hero face huggers, which had complete mobility of the fingers. It could crawl and reach and try and get at Newt and try and get at Ripley. Complete action, but operated literally by 6 or 7 puppeteers just to get all of those fingers doing everything they had to do. Huge bundle of cables. When Sigourney Weaver is holding it and fighting it away from her, there's a huge bundle of cables down her arm. She's creating a performance. Carrie's creating a performance. It's coming up over the table, trying to crawl out after her. And it's a very, very extensive animatronic cable-operated effect.
Probably the most complex of the pieces was the running facehugger. And that was, the mechanism for that was built by Rick Lazzarini. It was a very clever mechanism. It was like a pull toy, where there was a couple of pulleys that a cable would run through inside the body. And you had another cable that as you pulled the creature along, the wheels of the pulleys would turn, which would activate cams that made the legs scuttle.
This thing looks like a fucking Alaskan king crab. But basically the wire's gonna come from here, straight, and from here, probably come out about here, that way. So that the tail angles down like this, it's gonna come down like this more. And the wire will be over the tail, and the sucker will spin it around.
It was, in fact, low-tech, high-art, very interesting concept, and this little thing was running at you, running across the room, and it was virtually a pull toy.
And then in addition to that, Cameron did some very clever things with reverse photography mixed with forward movement. There's actually 3 different pieces to this shot. When the creature runs out and stops, and then it leaps onto the leg of a table and then leaps right at the camera. And what that was the little pull toy facehugger running, stops, cut the camera, take that one out, place a floppy stunt facehugger on the table, and then we put a little eyelet in the ground where the little other running facehugger stopped, pull that